You feel it, don't you? That gnawing sense that others are moving faster, that every day you fall a step further behind. You see their progress, their gains, their victories, while you remain where you were last year, still telling yourself you'll start soon, but the truth is plain. You are not behind because of fate. You are behind because you have been outworked. You think the world is unfair? It is, and it always will be. To the man who moves slowly, who works without plan, who stops when it grows hard. But life bends in favor of the man who has decided that no one will give more hours, more focus, more persistence, or more service than he will. The clock will not wait for you. Your competitors will not wait for you. Even your own potential will not wait. It will fade if you continue to drift. You say you want to catch up? Then you must make a decision so fierce that nothing, fatigue, doubt, or fear, will stop you from doing more and doing it better than any man alive. Do not lie to yourself about working hard. Work without a definite chief aim is not hard work. It is wasted life. I speak now only to the man who will fix his purpose, organize his hours, and attack the day with such certainty that fortune will have no choice but to follow him. From this hour forward, you will not measure yourself by comfort or mood or convenience. You will measure yourself by service rendered and progress made. You will not stop at the level others stop. You will go past it. You will keep going until there is no doubt in any man's mind, including your own, that you are the one who will win. This is not talk. This is your summons. And if you will hear it, not with casual interest, but with burning decision, then I promise you, by the end of this, you will know exactly how to outwork, outlast, and outserve every man in your field, and never feel behind again. You look around and you see men who began life ahead of you, born to money, to connections, to privilege. You tell yourself they have an advantage you cannot match. But I tell you this, the man who works with definiteness and purpose can surpass any advantage of birth, wealth, or education. Work is the great equalizer, but only when it is guided by a definite chief aim. If you feel behind in life, it is not because you began too late. It is because you have been drifting. In Outwitting the Devil, I named drifting as the silent thief of all progress, the habit of working without direction, of filling the hours without advancing toward a specific end. Drifting will let you work yourself to exhaustion and still leave you no further than where you began. Work without a plan makes a man tired but not rich. It fills the day with activity but leaves the future unchanged. But work joined to definiteness of purpose turns each hour into an investment. Every stroke of effort moves the aim closer. This is the kind of work that builds fortunes and character together, and it is available to any man who will direct himself. Consider Andrew Carnegie. He began as a penniless telegraph boy, running messages through the streets. He could have labored his life away in that job, but he saw each position as a step toward mastery. He learned every skill the work could offer, made himself indispensable, and seized opportunities to rise. His relentless effort, joined to clear purpose, transformed him from an errand boy into the master of the steel industry. Carnegie's hours were not longer than other men's. At first, they were the same. But each hour was connected to a plan. He measured his work against his purpose, not against the clock. This is the first shift you must make if you would outwork everyone. Stop measuring where you are against others, and start measuring your work against the distance between you and your aim. The man who says, "I am behind," is often counting the possessions of others, not the quality of his own labor. This comparison will weaken you. But the man who says, "I have moved closer to my goal today than I was yesterday," is counting his advancement by the only scale that matters, his own definite purpose. You must understand that the value of work is not in its quantity alone, but in the direction it serves. An ox may labor all day, but without direction, it will plow the same circle endlessly. A man without aim is no different. The hours pass, the sweat falls, but the field is never finished. From this day, align your work with a definite aim. Decide what you want, fix the plan, and let every task serve it. When you rise in the morning, ask, what work today moves me toward my aim? When you rest at night, ask, did my work advance me, or did it only keep me busy? The beauty of this law is that it ignores the starting point. You may begin with no money, no connections, no special education, and still rise above men who have all three if you will work with a definiteness they have never learned. The hours are given equally to all. The difference is how they are spent. Affirm now, I measure my labor by its service to my aim. I work with purpose. I outwork not only in hours, but in direction. Let this guide you, for the man who works longer and better in the right direction will in time be the man ahead. From this hour, stop counting how far ahead others may be, and begin counting how much of your energy each day is spent in service of your definite chief aim. That is the only race worth winning, and it is the race you can win from any starting line. All sustained work, the kind that carries a man through fatigue, doubt, and resistance, begins with burning desire. Without it, even the most talented man will slow when the road becomes steep. But with it, the man of ordinary means will press forward through nights of labor and years of trial until the aim is won. Desire is the fire in the furnace of industry. I have said before, desire is the starting point of all achievement. It is not a fleeting wish, not a moment of enthusiasm, but a deep, consuming need to possess or become something definite. When this kind of desire takes hold, long hours are not punishment. They are the natural expression of the will to win. In Think and Grow Rich, I gave you 6 steps for turning desire into riches. These steps will also turn desire into the power to outwork every competitor you face, for they make the aim clear, the effort certain, and the reward visible before it is earned. First, fix in your mind the exact outcome you desire. Vague aims produce vague effort. If you wish to lead your industry, state it. If you wish to master a trade, define the level of mastery. If you wish for wealth, state the exact sum. The mind will only fully engage with a specific target. Second, determine what you will give in return. Work is an exchange, and you must offer service, skill, or value greater than the reward you expect. A man who tries to give the least and get the most will find his path blocked. A man who gives abundantly finds the road opening before him. Third, set a definite date by which you will reach your goal. A man without a deadline will work without urgency. The date puts the mind on notice that the aim is to be pursued now, not someday. Fourth, create a clear plan and begin at once. Do not wait until you feel ready. Begin where you are, with what you have, and improve as you go. Fifth, write a concise statement of what you desire, the time frame, what you will give, and the plan you will follow. This is your personal contract with yourself. Sixth, read this statement aloud morning and night with full belief and emotion as if the goal were already yours. Consider Thomas Edison. His pursuit of the electric light was not the result of idle curiosity. It was driven by an unshakable desire to see homes and cities illuminated by safe, steady light. Night after night, he worked while others slept, testing one material after another. Failure did not dim his desire, it sharpened it. The fire within him burned hotter than the lamps he sought to perfect. Look to Henry Ford. His desire was to build a car the common man could afford, not just the wealthy. This desire kept him working beyond normal hours, refining methods, simplifying parts, perfecting the assembly line. The labor was immense, but to Ford, it was simply the cost of bringing his vision to life. You must now choose an aim worth such devotion. It must be clear enough to measure and great enough to stir your blood. Choose a goal that makes long hours a joy, that makes you forget the clock, that turns fatigue into a sign of progress rather than a reason to stop. Vague aims drain energy because the mind has nothing solid to grip. Definite aims multiply energy because every act feels connected to a larger purpose. The man with a burning desire can work twice the hours of another and feel less weariness because his mind is fixed on the prize, not the labor. From this day, set your aim in writing, review it daily, and join every hour of labor to it. Say aloud, "My desire is definite. My work serves it. My energy grows as I advance." With this fire in your spirit, you will outwork every man whose desire is weak, no matter what other advantages he may hold. A man will never give his full strength to work he secretly doubts will succeed. Without faith in the value of his effort, his energy will falter at the first setback, his hours will be shorter, and his persistence will die in the face of resistance. Faith is the unseen force that makes labor light, focus sharp, and results inevitable. It is the fuel that makes outworking others possible. Faith is not a mysterious gift from fate. It is a state of mind that can be cultivated and strengthened. The method by which it is built is autosuggestion, the deliberate repetition of thoughts, words, and images until the subconscious mind accepts them as fact. Once accepted, they govern action without hesitation. In Law of Success, I gave the self-confidence formula, which, if spoken aloud morning and night with emotion and belief, will fix in your mind the certainty that your work is worthy, your aim is attainable, and your labor will be rewarded. It reads, "First, I know that I have the ability to achieve the object of my definite chief aim. Therefore, I demand of myself persistent, aggressive, and continuous action toward its attainment. Second, I realize the dominating thoughts of my mind will eventually reproduce themselves in outward action and gradually transform into physical reality. Therefore, I will concentrate my thoughts for 30 minutes daily upon the person I intend to become, creating a clear mental picture of that person. Third, I know through the principle of autosuggestion that any desire I persistently hold in my mind will eventually find some practical means of attaining the object back of it. Therefore, I will devote 10 minutes daily to demanding of myself the development of self-confidence. Fourth, I have clearly written down my definite chief aim and will never stop trying until I have developed sufficient confidence for its attainment. Fifth, I realize no wealth or position can long endure unless built upon truth and justice. Therefore, I will engage in no transaction that does not benefit all it affects. I will cause others to believe in me because I will believe in them and in myself. This is not mere recitation. It is a conditioning of the mind. Spoken with conviction, it plants seeds of faith that grow into unshakable belief, and that belief will transform how you work. Consider Abraham Lincoln. In the darkest days of the Civil War, when defeat seemed possible and criticism rained upon him, he worked with full commitment because he had unwavering faith in the preservation of the Union. His belief in the cause sustained his energy under burdens that would have crushed a lesser man. Look at Charles M. Schwab, who led U.S. Steel during uncertain markets. His faith in expansion, even in the face of risk, kept thousands of men employed and the company profitable. His conviction influenced others to keep working when fear might have frozen them. You must now build faith in the value of your own labor. Refuse all talk from yourself or others that questions the worth of your aim. Guard your mind as you would guard treasure. Do not permit doubt to linger. It will steal more hours from you than any rival ever could. Affirm aloud, "My faith governs my work. My belief makes my effort potent. Every hour I labor brings results." When faith is fixed, each stroke of work is done with the force of certainty. And certainty is what separates the man who finishes from the man who falters. Outworking everyone is not a matter of energy alone. It is a matter of resolve. You cannot keep pace in the long march of achievement without an unshakable decision that you will keep going long after others have stopped. Decision is the steel in the spine of persistence. It is the command that forbids retreat when the march grows hard. A decision once made must be final. The man who continually reconsiders his aim never truly begins the work. He stops at every crossroad to weigh his choice again, losing time, energy, and will. But the man who decides with definiteness moves forward with every step, knowing that obstacles are part of the path, not a reason to turn back. History offers the vivid lesson of Hernán Cortés. Landing in the New World, he ordered his ships burned. There would be no retreat, only victory or death. This act forced complete commitment from his men, for the possibility of going back was destroyed. Your decision must be like that, removing all escape routes, leaving only the road to success. In Think and Grow Rich, I told the story of 3 feet from gold, the miner who quit when the reward was just within reach. His failure was not in his tools, but in his decision. His choice to stop was final, just as another man's choice to keep going could have been. In the long march, you must decide that there is no quitting, only adjusting the plan until the reward is found. Consider Henry Ford's decision to pursue the V8 engine. His engineers told him it was impossible. Months passed, and they returned with nothing. Ford told them to keep working and to continue until it was done. His decision was fixed. His will was certain. And in time, the engine was built, not because the obstacles disappeared, but because he refused to change his mind. The moment you decide with finality, your hours become more potent. When the mind is not split between staying and leaving, all energy flows toward advancing. Every task, however small, serves the larger aim. Doubt steals time because it makes you hesitate. Decision gives time back because it keeps you in motion. From this day, say to yourself, I have decided, I will finish, I will not turn back. Remove the maybes from your thinking. Burn the mental ships that offer you retreat. Let your choice be a commitment so complete that even you cannot undo it without betraying your own identity. Affirm aloud, my decision is final, my will is fixed, my march continues until the aim is won. Let this be your oath for the long road ahead. For the man who has decided to go on cannot be beaten, he can only arrive. Persistence is the proof of your decision. It is the habit that transforms a bold beginning into a completed triumph. Without persistence, talent will tire, enthusiasm will fade, and opportunity will pass. With persistence, even modest ability will, over time, accomplish what the gifted man without endurance will never finish. Most men fail not because they lack skill, but because they stop too soon. They mistake temporary defeat for permanent failure. They slow when fatigue sets in, believing rest will be permanent, and they never rise again to the same pace. The man who would outwork everyone must see fatigue not as a signal to stop, but as the proof that he is moving beyond the reach of his competition. In Think and Grow Rich, I named persistence as one of the key principles of success, built from 7 sources: definiteness of purpose, desire, self-reliance, accurate knowledge, cooperation, willpower, and habit. When these are present, persistence flows naturally, even under strain. When they are absent, a man will quit at the first true test. Look to Thomas Edison for the supreme example. He is remembered for the electric light, but before that triumph were more than 10,000 experiments that did not work. Each failure could have been the end. Each setback would have been enough for the man who measures his labor only by short-term results. But Edison called each just another step toward the goal he had already decided upon. Consider Colonel Harlan Sanders. At an age when most men are settling into retirement, he set out to sell his chicken recipe. More than 1,000 times he was turned away before finding a partner who would help him build a business. He dressed in his white suit, carried himself with pride, and acted as though success was already his. That posture of certainty gave him the endurance to keep knocking on doors. Persistence is more than the will to continue. It is the discipline to continue in the same direction, even when there is no sign of immediate gain. It is the habit of showing up to the work each day, regardless of how you feel, and doing what must be done because the aim demands it. You must understand, fatigue is temporary, resistance is temporary, competition is temporary, but the victory of persistence is permanent. The moment you stop, you guarantee that someone else will take the prize. But the moment you resolve never to stop, you make it certain that in time, the prize will be yours. To train persistence, you must schedule your work in fixed blocks and guard those blocks without excuse. Let the hours be sacred. If you wait to feel like it, you will fail, for feelings are fleeting. The man of persistence does not wait for inspiration. He works until inspiration comes and continues after it fades. Cooperation is another ally of persistence. Surround yourself with those who believe in your aim and work with equal dedication. Their pace will keep yours from slowing. But beware of the company of the idle or the half-hearted, for their presence will whisper permission to quit when the road is hard. Persistence also requires accurate knowledge. When you know your plan is sound, you can keep working without fear that the effort is wasted. This is why you must take time to learn your craft, your market, your tools. Knowledge feeds confidence, and confidence feeds persistence. Willpower is the force that keeps you moving when all else weakens. It is the inner voice that says, one more hour, one more step, one more try. And habit is the mechanism by which persistence becomes natural. When the act of working at your aim each day is as automatic as rising in the morning, you have secured persistence as a permanent part of your character. From this day forward, set a daily rule. I will move forward, in some measure, toward my aim every day. There will be days when the advance is great and days when it is small, but there will be no days when it is nothing. This unbroken chain of effort is the lifeline between your present and your victory. Affirm aloud, I outlast all obstacles. Fatigue cannot stop me. Resistance cannot turn me. I hold the course until the victory is complete. Speak this when your energy is high, and speak it when your energy is low. Let it be the command that overrules every impulse to quit. Remember, the man who persists will eventually outlast every rival, overcome every barrier, and turn every temporary defeat into a stepping stone. When others have stopped, when the field is empty, when the path seems endless, you will still be moving, and in that moment, you will be closer to the prize than anyone else alive. Persistence wins not because it is glamorous, but because it is rare. Most will not endure. You must decide that you will, and then prove it, not in words, but in the unbroken march of your labor. No man, however great his energy, can outwork the world entirely by himself. There is a limit to one man's hours, one man's skill, and one man's perspective. The man who truly outworks everyone is not the one who labors alone until exhaustion, but the one who multiplies his own capacity through the mastermind principle. In Law of Success, I define the mastermind as the coordination of knowledge and effort between two or more people working in perfect harmony toward a definite aim. This is not a casual association or a loose gathering of acquaintances. It is a deliberate alliance created and maintained for the purpose of mutual advancement toward clearly defined goals. The mastermind generates a form of power that no single individual can produce alone. When two or more minds meet in harmony around a definite purpose, they create what might be called a third mind, an invisible intelligence that draws upon the resources of each and produces ideas, courage, and solutions greater than the sum of its parts. Andrew Carnegie was a master of this principle. Though he was one of the wealthiest and most influential men of his era, he did not pretend to know everything or to do everything himself. He built a circle of able men, his cabinet, each chosen for their specialized knowledge, loyalty, and ability to work in harmony. Carnegie's genius was not in knowing everything about steel, finance, and operations himself, but in knowing how to assemble men who did. Carnegie once declared that his fortune was the direct result of the mastermind alliance he had formed. Each member brought his own experience, contacts, and abilities, and together they handled matters with a speed and precision Carnegie could never have matched alone. Consider also Thomas Edison and his invention factory at Menlo Park. Edison's name appears on hundreds of patents, but he was not the sole laborer behind them. His laboratories were filled with men of skill, engineers, chemists, machinists, each contributing to the work. Edison's role was as much coordinator and inspirer as inventor, and his use of the mastermind principle allowed him to achieve a pace of innovation no solitary inventor could hope to match. The mastermind is not only a multiplier of skills, it is a multiplier of energy. When your own persistence falters, the sight of your allies pressing forward restores your will. When you are tempted to doubt, their confidence steadies you. When obstacles appear too large for you to move alone, the combined strength of the group makes the work possible. To form a mastermind that truly multiplies your effort, you must be deliberate in your choices. First, select only those whose seriousness matches your own. A single doubter or lazy member will weaken the whole. The power of the mastermind depends on harmony, and harmony depends on mutual respect, commitment, and shared belief in the aim. Second, the purpose of your alliance must be definite. Each member must know why the group exists, what aim it serves, and what contribution is expected of them. A mastermind without a definite aim is no more than a social club. Third, meet regularly, whether in person or through any agreed means, to review progress, share ideas, solve problems, and set immediate next steps. Let each meeting be a forge where ideas are hammered into tools for action. Fourth, maintain harmony as the highest law of the group. Differences of opinion will arise, and when handled respectfully, they will strengthen the final decision. But personal conflict, envy, or hidden agendas will poison the alliance. Protect the group from such influences as you would protect your own mind from destructive thoughts. Fifth, give more than you expect to receive. This spirit of generosity builds trust, and trust is the foundation upon which harmony rests. The mastermind thrives when every member looks for ways to add value to others' aims, knowing that in doing so, they advance their own. When built correctly, the mastermind will save you years of trial and error. The experiences of others will guide you away from mistakes. Their contacts will open doors you could not have opened alone. Their encouragement will help you outlast your rivals, and their belief will remind you of your own when the weight of the work feels heavy. But guard your alliance. The wrong man in your mastermind can undo months of progress. Avoid those who are habitually negative, who shirk responsibility, or who stir conflict. Better a small united group than a large one divided. The man who outworks everyone is not simply the man who rises earliest and labors latest. He is the man who adds the hours, skills, and influence of others to his own. 10 men working in harmony toward a shared aim, each leveraging his own strengths, can accomplish in 1 year what a lone man might labor decades to achieve. Affirm aloud, I surround myself with allies of purpose. Our minds in harmony multiply our power. Our victory is certain when we act together. Let this be the creed of your mastermind. When you join your hours and energy with those of men who share your aim and your standard, you will find that your ability to outwork the competition expands beyond anything you imagined. You will be moving not with one man's effort, but with the force of many, and that is a power that few can match and fewer still can resist. Controlled attention is the art of concentrating all your effort, mental, physical, and emotional, on the tasks that directly advance your definite purpose and refusing to scatter your power on what does not. It is not merely working hard, Many men work hard and accomplish little because their energy is divided among 100 small, unimportant labors. To outwork everyone, you must not only put in more hours, you must put more of your hours into the work that matters most. An extra day's labor spent on tasks that have no bearing on your definite chief aim will not move you closer to your goal. But 1 hour spent daily on the single most important action, guarded from interruption, will in time carry you farther than years of busy but misdirected effort. In Think and Grow Rich, I taught that the dominating thoughts of your mind reproduce themselves in outward results. But those dominating thoughts are determined by what you give your attention to each day. If you allow your mind to dwell on trivial matters, gossip, or unfounded fears, those will crowd out the thoughts that could have led to decisive action. Consider Woodrow Wilson. As president, he was beset on all sides by political demands, domestic issues, and international crises. Yet when he set his mind on the creation of the League of Nations, he gave it the lion's share of his attention. He spoke of it, worked for it, traveled to promote it, and let lesser matters be handled by others. Though the League did not pass in his lifetime in America, his concentrated effort shaped the international order for decades to come. Controlled attention begins with accurate thinking. You must base your decisions on relevant, verified facts, not rumor or guesswork. This discipline ensures you are working from truth, not distraction. Carnegie practiced this by filtering out all information that was not directly connected to his business aims. He would listen to counsel, but he refused to be swayed by matters that did not affect the steel industry's growth and stability. To master controlled attention, you must first identify the single task or category of work that most advances your aim. This may be securing new clients, perfecting a product, deepening your knowledge, or developing key relationships. Whatever it is, it must receive the first and best part of your energy each day. Second, guard that work from interruption. Set hours when you will not be disturbed, turn away unimportant visitors, silence unnecessary devices, and step away from the noise that competes for your focus. 1 uninterrupted hour on your highest value work is worth more than an entire distracted day. Third, train your mind to return to the aim whenever it wanders. If you catch yourself lost in thought about matters that do not serve your chief purpose, pull your attention back. This will feel difficult at first, but repeated correction will make it a habit. Fourth, delegate or discard tasks that consume time without producing proportional results. The man who tries to do everything himself will be too exhausted to do the essential things well. Use your master mind to help with lesser duties, freeing your time for the work only you can do. Fifth, limit your exposure to mental pollution. News, gossip, criticism that saps your resolve and clouds your vision. A mind cluttered with the problems of the world will have no strength left to solve the problems of its own purpose. Controlled attention also requires that you measure your days by accomplishment, not activity. At the end of each day, ask, did I move my aim forward? If the answer is no, then your hours were wasted, no matter how busy you were. From this day, let your rule be, first, the most important work, then all else. Never reverse the order. The urgent will always demand your time, but the important will determine your destiny. Outwork your rivals not by doing more of everything, but by doing more of what counts. Affirm aloud, my attention serves my aim. My thoughts feed my progress. My hours are given first to the work that wins. Let this discipline guide you until working on the highest value task each day becomes as natural as breathing. When you have mastered controlled attention, you will discover a strange truth. You may even work fewer hours than some competitors, yet accomplish far more. For it is not merely the number of blows, but where they land, that fells the tree. There is a law as certain as gravity. The man who consistently gives more and better service than he is paid for will in time be sought after, trusted, and advanced beyond measure. This is the habit of going the extra mile. And it is one of the most powerful ways to outwork every competitor, not merely in hours, but in reputation, influence, and opportunity. In Law of Success, I taught that this habit is more than generosity. It is a deliberate strategy for success. By giving more than expected, you plant seeds of goodwill, loyalty, and trust that return to you multiplied. No employer, client, or associate forgets the man who serves beyond the limits of his contract. They remember, they tell others, and doors open in places you could never have knocked. Consider Charles M. Schwab. Early in his career, he took on tasks others avoided, stayed late without complaint, and solved problems before they became crises. This willingness to give more than asked caught the attention of Andrew Carnegie himself. Schwab's rise was swift, not because of luck, but because his reputation made it inevitable that greater responsibilities and greater rewards would find him. Think also of Thomas Edison, whose work habits often took him beyond the original scope of a project. He would explore additional possibilities, test improvements, and investigate ideas sparked during his experiments. Many of these extra efforts led to unexpected breakthroughs, innovations not in the original plan, but of immense value nonetheless. The habit of going the extra mile works because it sets you apart in a world where most men give only the minimum required. The average man thinks, "Why should I do more? I'm not being paid for it." The man who outworks everyone thinks, "I will do more because it builds my skill, my value, and my reputation." The former waits to be paid before giving. The latter gives first, knowing payment, often far greater, will follow. To cultivate this habit, begin with a simple rule. In every task, ask what more can be done to improve the result, to serve more fully, or to exceed expectations. This may mean staying a little later, checking your work twice, offering an additional idea, or taking responsibility for a problem no one else has claimed. Second, do this without announcing it or demanding recognition. True extra-mile service does not trumpet itself. It lets the quality of the work speak. In time, those who benefit will speak for you, and their endorsement will carry more weight than anything you could say about yourself. Third, be consistent. One act of extra service will be appreciated. A pattern of extra service will be remembered, trusted, and rewarded. The man who can be relied upon to give more is the man chosen for greater opportunity. Fourth, apply the habit in all relationships, not just business. The friend who listens longer, the neighbor who lends a hand without being asked, the citizen who contributes to the community without seeking credit, all are practicing the same principle, and the goodwill earned in one area of life often returns as advantage in another. The habit of going the extra mile also develops your character. It trains you to see beyond the immediate transaction to the long-term relationship. It makes you alert to opportunities others overlook. It builds endurance because going beyond the expected requires discipline, and it sharpens your skills because each extra effort is another chance to practice and improve. Keep a 30-day record of your extra mile acts. Each evening, write down at least one way you exceeded the expectation that day. At the end of the month, review your record and note how often new opportunities, goodwill, and unexpected rewards have arisen. You will see proof that this habit pays in ways you cannot fully predict. Affirm aloud, "I give more than I am paid for. I serve beyond expectation. My extra effort returns to me multiplied." This statement will remind you that the law is certain. As you sow, so shall you reap, and the man who sows abundantly will reap abundantly. The man who works more with better focus, greater persistence, and higher spirit than others cannot be held back. By joining the habit of going the extra mile to the principles of definiteness of purpose, burning desire, faith, decision, persistence, the master mind, and controlled attention, you will have forged a working philosophy that no rival can match. So I end with this challenge. For the next 30 days, in every task and in every relationship, give more than is required, better than is expected, and sooner than is needed. Do it without asking for reward, and watch as opportunities appear unasked, trust grows unforced, and your place ahead of the competition becomes undeniable. When that day comes, you will not need to tell anyone you have outworked them. They will know, and more importantly, you will know.